Hi, I'm Caroline, Canine Behaviourist at Good Doggy. It's really easy to get caught up thinking that behaviour change can take a lot of time. Some behaviour problems can almost feel impossible to try and fix, and especially if you're very short of time. So if you only have a little bit of time, is it even really worth trying? I think most of us could find 10 minutes a day to spend on our dog behaviour training. So absolutely, yes, if you are short of time, it is definitely worth trying. There is loads of stuff that you could do in 10 minutes, and that 10 minutes a day will really add up. If you did 10 minutes every single day in a whole month, that would have been a total of 5 hours worth of training. Imagine how amazing your recall would be if you just practice for 5 solid hours, or your loose lead training or something else. 5 hours is an awful lot of time to spend practicing and rehearsing something. So even if you start with something small, just like 10 minutes, it will add up and it will make a big difference in the long run. So when you have a short amount of time, we really have to make the most out of what time you have. So how do we do that? So I think of changing behaviour like a set of scales. So on one side of the scales, we have the old behaviour. This is the stuff that your dog is currently doing that you're hoping to change. And on the other side of the scales, we have the new behaviour. This is what you're trying to teach your dog. This is what you prefer them to do instead. So for a recall, this could look like on the old side of the scales. The old behaviour is ignoring your cue to come back and continuing to sniff or running off and playing with their friends or doing whatever it is that they're doing. They're not coming back to you. On the new side, that's them responding to that cue, coming back to you and getting their treat. So if we want to make the most of our 10 minutes, we need to make sure that everything we do goes onto the good side of the scales. So we only want to practice the new behaviour, the good behaviour. In fact, this kind of way of working could be more effective than even if you spend hours and hours and hours working on a behaviour. So maybe for that recall, you could spend an hour practicing recall training. But if you let your dog off the lead and they refuse to come back to you constantly, then they maybe spend an hour refusing to come back and the scales just balance again. So actually you're not making any progress anyway. So even when you spend an awful lot of time training, you could still find progress is a problem if you don't manage your good responses versus your bad ones. So what we need to try and do is make sure that we are avoiding the behaviour that we don't want and we are only allowing the behaviour that we do. So for recall, maybe that could include using a long line so that when you do call them, they can't just run off and do whatever they want. You can use that to regain control if you need to. And that means then that every time that you call them, you'll be able to have a success and the good side of your scales sees the most benefit. If you're struggling with your dog at the front door, you might try to put them in a different room until you've rehearsed enough under the perfect conditions. So there's lots of different things, but it's okay to avoid the bad behaviour while you're trying to boost up the good behaviour, because that side of your scales is the one that's going to see the most work and the most effort. So what can you do in 10 minutes? It doesn't seem like a lot, but actually there's loads of stuff you could do. So if you're working on recall, you could practice 10 recalls in 10 minutes. 10 good recalls, no bad recalls, as we see on our set of scales, means you are making fast progress. You are moving forward. You could practice your sit-stay at the front door 5 times. You could walk a reactive dog past 2 dogs in the park. If you're avoiding dogs normally, then you're always making progress 2 steps at a time. You will get there if you continue to make just small amounts of progress. But if you go and see 2 dogs and walk past them in that 10 minutes, and then you see 3 more and do nothing, and he becomes very reactive, then you've gone backwards. So avoidance on one side, and we're doing 2 good walk pasts. So we're still making progress. Our 10 minutes is working for us. In 10 minutes, you could introduce a clicker and you could practice 1 trick. You could do 2 5-minute loose lead sessions. Imagine doing 10 minutes of loose lead every single day, 5 hours worth of loose lead training in a month. Their training is going to look so different and your walks will look different. Just 10 minutes a day, though, will get you there. You could sit by the curb 10 times and wait for a safe time to cross the road. You could practice calm greetings 5 times. So there's so much that you could do in your 10 minutes, but really the key is to make sure that you are avoiding the old behaviour and only focusing on the good behaviour so that you can actually make as fast a progress as possible. What are you working on right now? Could you break what you're doing down into 10-minute sessions? What are your ideas? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear them. Hopefully that helps for you for now. Take care. Bye-bye.